So today we are talking about medical mushrooms and how we can have the benefits of that. And we have here our guest is the CEO of the Shroomwell, Silver Laus. Welcome from Estonia.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So first I want to hear about the Sienissä project, so the mushroom sea mat project. So can you tell a little bit about that?
Sure. So the Shroomwell company, we're well known because of our wellness brand,
Mm-hmm.
but I would say underneath the sea level there is much more that's happening, and the big projects that we're actually doing that's going to change the world a lot in the long run is mushroom technology projects. So mushrooms are interesting. Like we only see like maybe 1% as the fruiting bodies, but 99% actually happens underneath the soil. So mushrooms have a very strong potential to fix all sorts of problems. And one of the things is, as you already mentioned, the sea mat, or we call it the mycomat project. So what it essentially is that we take mushrooms, combine it with some specific organic matter, and then we are able to teach the mushroom to consume oil. It's not like you just throw mushrooms on oil and it starts to eat it. So like you actually have to teach it. You have to train it. And then what it does eventually is that you can kind of spread it on the oil spills, and after, let's say, depending on the size of the spill, in 10-20 weeks, it can actually consume the oil, leaving nothing behind. There was a test done in States for the same type of project. So in a larger area, they spread the mushrooms. They were teaching the mushrooms to eat the oil, and they were spreading the mushroom. In 16 weeks, which is not a long time, in 16 weeks, the particles per million was down from 200,000 to less than 200. So you give another 4 weeks and it actually consumes that even the 200 particles per million. I wouldn't suggest to eat the mushroom afterwards, but it can break it down, and then it decomposes into the nature without leaving any harmful trace. So that's like one of the many projects that we do. We also have fighting harmful mushroom with a different kind of a mushroom in the forest. So in this region, we have a big issue of root rot, which is basically killing the trees from inside out. I think in Europe alone, it costs like 1 billion euros annually. This is the damage it does. So we came up with the idea that maybe there is another mushroom that can fight this mushroom. And then we started to test that in the lab conditions. And after like successful like 10-20 tests that we conducted, we found 2 strains of mushrooms that can actually push out the root rot, or to actually eat the root rot as for food. So now we are conducting the test in a larger scale in the forest in Estonia, and we have like Swedish scientists backing us up because the project is so interesting. So like we have scientists from like Holland, from Belgium, from Sweden, from Finland, who are all tied with like different projects of ours.
Wow, so interesting.
So this is just the tip of the iceberg, the wellness part, but everything comes together. I call it a circular approach. So anything we do in the nature has a kind of a side product, I would call, which is a medicinal mushroom. So we do good in the environment.
Yeah.
We call it the humanity plus. So we add more to the environment than we're taking back. So as a side product, we have medicinal mushrooms that we can actually use as a health products.
I love this idea that you give more than you take.
I think that should be the basis for entrepreneurship.
That should be. Today we're talking about medical mushrooms, but I would want to know, how did you get, end up,
How did I end up into this field? Yes.
What happened? What is your own story?
Yes. So, as always, things have their own interesting route, right? So you have your own plan, and then something completely different happens. So I actually moved to Canada in 2011, and I was there for 7 years. And when I left Estonia, I was in IT field, and in my head that was the only field that I'm gonna be in because it was so exciting and it was like fast moving, and I was like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I went to Canada. I was this regular dude who was smoking, drinking alcohol, doing all of those kind of stuff. And but my mindset was always entrepreneurship. So when I moved there, I soon enough found my way back into the entrepreneurship. And being an entrepreneur, I see that your biggest asset is what you have up here. Like, you can lose your legs, you can lose your hands, but this is what actually makes you money. This is what makes things happen. And I felt like this constant brain fog. It's like everything is kind of like difficult. It's like you have to push through every single day, and I was like, there has to be a better way.
Was this in Canada?
That was in Canada. That was like probably 2013, 2014. I remember the moment when it struck me. I was in the line in the Starbucks getting my 7th coffee of the day, and it was 7 p.m., something like that. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, there has to be a better way, while waiting for my 7th coffee and like so on. So, and I walked out with my coffee. I lighted a cigarette, and I was thinking to myself, there has to be a better way. I was like, and then this is where it all started. So this is where I found my way into the wellness, health and wellness. I started with superfoods first, because that was a trend back then. Yeah. And I got really deep into it. So I became a biohacker. So this is how deep into it I got. And when I moved back to Estonia 2018, I was still working with, there was a different company that was doing superfoods. And then from there, I transitioned over to medicinal mushrooms, because I started to see medicinal mushrooms taking space in the health stores in Canada, in US and Canada. I was like, okay, this is the next big thing. Like, it was already like the writing was on the wall. I was like, this is going to be a next big thing. And then when I was diving into it and trying to understand what the medicinal mushrooms are and what they can offer, it was mind blowing. I was like, okay, this is the field I want to be in. So now I've been in medicinal mushrooms for like working as a career for like over 2 years, 2.5 years, but researching and being very much interested into it over 5 years now.
So interesting. So when we're talking about the medical part, so tell like the basic things what we all have to know about medical mushrooms. There are many kinds of.
Yes.
But how they like affect? How does it work?
So first of all, just to put things in context, assumably there's about 2.2 to 3.8 million different mushrooms in the world.
Wow, I didn't know that.
We have only kind of registered about 140,000 of those. Not research, but registered. And only about 15,000 of those have a fruiting body. So this, in our mind, what we know as a mushroom is something that, you know, grows out and has a fruiting body, right? But that's less than 1% that has a fruiting body. And we have only researched about like 10 to 15,000 mushrooms as well. So like, we know so little. But what we already know is mind-blowing. So like, we know that mushrooms are genetically much closer to us than any of the plants are, which means that the metabolism for us consuming mushrooms, and also the bioavailability that we get from mushrooms, is way higher. So that already puts things in a context of like, okay, so why the medicinal mushrooms are so powerful, and like why the trend is moving so fast. But yes, there's wider variety of mushrooms out there. If we're talking about the medicinal mushrooms that are like mass used, popular, then there's about 7 mushrooms out there. We are working currently with 4 of them, but we're expanding as we go. Some of the medicinal mushrooms that are very powerful are unfortunately forbidden in Europe, but I hope that's going to change as well. It's not that they're like, magic mushrooms. They're medicinal mushrooms that just don't have a classification in European Union law. But yeah, every mushroom has its own, they're very comprehensive in terms of what they do for your health, but every mushroom, what I like about this, that they have this like iceberg. It's like they have their functionality that you can really strongly rely on. And this is where like you're like, okay, I have a problem with sleep, this mushroom. I have a problem with immunity, well, this mushroom. I have a problem with like having a better brain, being more focused, well, this mushroom.
I love it. And definitely I want to hear about immunity, because we all want to stay healthy and, we want to have the energy. So what would be the good mushrooms for like general health, immunity?
I think not that I think, I know that the best mushroom for that is chaga. So it's also well known here in this culture, right? Like pakuri. So I think even the first book written in Finnish, which is Seven Brothers, mentioned chaga. So that already says something, right? Chaga, and like we have like the elixirs made out of chaga, and I can say this is probably the best tasting chaga product in the world. So like people associate a certain taste with mushrooms. This is what we do. So but once people try this product, they're like, oh my God, this tastes amazing. Can I drink all of it? Like, well, you can, but like you probably want to do the shots every day. That's more efficient.
How does it affect? Like, what does it do?
So chaga, if we're talking about the chaga specifically, chaga is called the king of mushrooms. And it's not us who are calling it king of mushrooms. It's in the old Chinese medicine, in the old Asian medicine, it was called king of the mushrooms. Because the large array of bioactive components it has. So it has over 200. So far we know that there's over 200 bioactive components. I think in a few years we're going to increase that number to 300 and 400. So it's very, very, very complex. We don't even understand how those components play together to really like support our immune system. Like we fully don't understand. But what we do know is that mushrooms, why they're so highly regarded is because they contain a bioactive component called polysaccharide. And polysaccharides are, they're this complex sugars that communicate with your cell. And then they have a subset called beta-glucan, which is literally communicating with your cells to kind of initiate a certain actions in your cell. So they, I wouldn't say wake up, but they would communicate with, for example, killer cells to attack any of the pathogens or any threat that comes into your body. So they're the first set of your defense line. So like, and chaga has a lot of beta-glucans in it. Another one is, for example, SOD, it's called. It's superoxide dismutase, which is a very, very strong antioxidant. So it fights with the free radicals, which is a big problem especially in the modern day world where we have, all the Wi-Fi's and mobile contamination, I would say. And also it has 3 terpenes in it, which is another bioactive component, which is a very strong antioxidant, and also it's anti-cancerous, it's anti-viral, it's basically anti-everything. So you put all of that together and you have like one of the strongest immune supporter that's out there.
Sounds so good.
So
to whom would you recommend this the most?
I would say it doesn't matter. Like we don't have the age restriction, or we don't say that, well, since you're like, I don't know, 55 or older, that's why you should use this. I personally think that doesn't matter the age. Today, in this modern day society where like, stress is killing us, we're constantly on the run. Like it's very hard to make the ends meet because, the prices are increasing and stuff like that. All of that affects our body. It affects our sleep. It affects physically our body, our metabolism, which means eventually it will affect our immune system. So our customers are like, from 20 to all the way to 80. And I personally, I consume that product every single day. I have been doing that for the last 2-3 years because I don't want to see the other side. Like I don't want to see like, what if? It's a precautionary, right? So I haven't been sick. I haven't had those issues that I used to have when I was like 25, where like my immune system and my body was supposed to be much stronger. Like I don't want to take that risk.
I was just going to ask, like, do you use it like every day? But you do. Every day you take that.
Yes. So we recommend to take one shot, which is 25 milliliters, 1 or twice a day.
Okay.
If you feel that you're getting sick, you're kind of under the weather, you can do like half a bottle as well if you want. Like there is no risk of over consuming them. This is another thing about the medicinal mushrooms. They're adaptogens.
They're so safe to use.
They're safe to use. So their chaga is immunomodulator. So what it means is basically, depending on a context, it adjusts your immune system. So if your immune system is low, which we get, especially when the weather is changing, it helps to bring it up. So it enhances your immune system. But if your immune system is on overdrive, which is a big issue these days, so like the immune system just keeps on running like crazy because like something is constantly happening and body doesn't know what's happening, then it actually calms down your immune system. So it always tries to find that medium. So if you drink, let's say, too much, what really happens is that body does whatever it needs to be doing, the immune system finds its balance, and the rest of it just comes out.
I love it already. And people have so much stress, like nowadays, of course in Finland, but all over the world.
It's all over the world. I'm saying that we just came out from a large health crisis, which was related to immune system. But we're going into much bigger crisis right now, which is mental crisis. Because of how the world has changed. So like, we have a war in our backyard. The prices are increasing like crazy. Like I've heard the same story about Helsinki that I hear about Tallinn. It's like the prices are so high that people can't just, they can't live in it anymore, right? So, and we are constantly being bombarded with, negative news and stuff that's happening in the world. That's all affecting us. It's affecting our circadian rhythm because stress affects that. Once your circadian rhythm is off, your immune system is off. And it's like, it's this downhill spiral that like, it's very hard to come out. So we are here in this world, not to just make any random product and be like, well, let's take advantage of people, but it's the humanity plus. It's like, we're trying to create products that are really functional and would really help you to be a better person. And if we're not able to do that, we're going to scrap that product.
Hey, what about sleep? We have a lot of stress, and stress is very related to sleep. So what would be the good, like, medicine, natural medicine for sleep?
We have a saying that there's a mushroom for every problem. It's actually written on my back here. So you name a product, there's most likely a mushroom that we can use to solve that problem. If not today, then probably tomorrow, because like I said, we're still exploring this this world. For sleep, I personally, this is very, the problem itself is very dear to me because, not because I have sleep issues, but I see a lot of my friends who are in their like 30s, some of them even in their 20s, in their 30s, in their 40s, who are having a massive sleep disturbances, and they don't know what to do about it. My mom had a sleep issue for, I don't know, 20 years, where like she literally woke up in the middle of the night, stayed up for 2 hours each night. And
That's a long time.
That's way too long. And then fall asleep just to wake up 2 hours later to go to work. If you do that 20 years, there's no way that your body functions the most efficient way. So what we did, we took the mushroom, which is, by the way, this mushroom here, reishi.
Reishi.
Which is amazing mushroom because what it does, like what we do, we combine the ancient knowledge with modern day science. So the mushrooms have been around, documented for about 5,000 years. This is the oldest documented mushroom, reishi, in old China. So we're looking into that and be like, okay, for thousands of years, what for the mushroom was used? Because they figured out something over time. And then we're looking at the modern day science and we're like, okay, so what are we exploring today and how we can put that together? So reishi has been used for stress and sleep management in a historical sense. And the modern day science is catching up and now tries to translate the reasons why that happens. So what reishi does is it communicates with your cortisol and adrenaline receptors. Those are the two main reasons why we have stress and why we don't sleep. So you can go to sleep and you can fall asleep. Let's say a regular person does that around 11 p.m. in the night.
Yeah.
You can fall asleep, but that doesn't mean that the problem is solved. So all of those solutions that we see today are actually fixing that end of it. I'll make sure that you will fall asleep. Now, why people are waking up 2 o'clock in the morning is because body is still in a stress mode. I'm still, my mind, which is like our brains, like we're smartest creatures on earth right now. At least this is what we think of, right? But parts of our brain are still ancient and kind of stupid. Like they don't know if the stress is because of my boss yelled at me or my husband or wife wanted something from me or the lion is chasing me. The body can't tell that. There's no difference.
Exactly. Yeah.
Stress is stress, right? So in the middle of the night, you wake up because you have that stress going on in your body because something happened in work, something happened, like, you know, a payday is coming and you know that you don't have enough to cover your expenses, whatever it is, right? So you wake up in the middle of the night because the body keeps on pumping cortisol, adrenaline, and that's converted into energy. And boom, you open your eyes, 2 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
The first thing that comes to your mind is usually work related. So you think that work is something that kind of woke you up, but it's not. It's the adrenaline, it's the cortisol. And then like you kind of wear off after a while because body is still wants some sleep, and then you wear off and then you wake up in the morning and then you're tired because you didn't have proper sleep. You didn't get your REM sleep. You didn't get your deep sleep, which are like crucial. So, and that's an issue. So what we did, this is a very unique recipe where it has melatonin as well, just to make sure that you fall asleep in a reasonable time. But after that, the reishi inside of it starts to work with your cortisol, adrenaline receptors, and actually literally says that, listen, calm down, there's no lion chasing you.
Exactly.
So what happens is that people, you know, most of the products is like it takes time to feel the results. Or as we just said, chaga, you take it not to become sick. So like you even don't feel the consequences, right? And that's the point of it. With this product, people are responding back to us and saying literally that, like, listen, first time I tried, like I slept like a baby. Like I haven't had this kind of sleep for 10 years, for example.
So you can feel the effect immediately.
Yes. People are different. I'm not saying that this is a case with everybody, but like we launched this product in April this year, so it's still quite new. But more and more time goes by, the more people are coming back to us, be like, "This is amazing! Like that actually fixed the problem I had."
That is amazing because I think, like, I hear so many stories from people who cannot sleep. they can fall asleep, but they, wake up in the middle of the night and they stay awake like 2 hours and they are so tired to go to work.
Yes.
So people have so much stress. And like you said, that the whole body is like stress mode all the time.
Yes. So like a good kind of example or test that was conducted that kind of like speaks for the issue is in the US with, I think it was Navy SEALs. So, and they picked snipers and did a test with them. So this kind of like recommended sleep time is 8 hours. Given that you have normal circadian rhythm, that you're not going to sleep 1 a.m. in the morning and then wake up 9 a.m. Like, no, it's like going bed at a reasonable time, waking up at a reasonable time. So that's extremely important as well. So 8 hours of sleep, their shooting accuracy was 95%. Now they cut the sleep short only by 30 minutes. The shooting accuracy went down. Can't remember the exact numbers, but excuse me, but I think it was somewhere around 80 and 85%. And we're talking about 30 minutes of sleep. They cut another 30 minutes of sleep, so hour of total. It already went down to below 75%. And I think in 6 hours of sleep, they were somewhere just tiny bit above 50%. Now let's translate that over to our everyday life. So what if, just what if, we all get that 8 hours of full maximum sleep that we're supposed to get? What can we actually achieve as a humankind? As a person, what I can actually achieve? Like how much can I actually get more done? Like how's that going to translate in my income or in my family or whatever it is, right? So that's why the sleeping, the issue itself is so dear to me, because I know that's the biggest hack of a humankind.
Yes, and that is the most important thing when we talk about health.
Yes.
That you can sleep.
Yeah, start with sleep.
Yes.
That
First
fixes,
thing, number one.
That fixes like, I would say 50+% of your problems, and then start with everything else.
So can you use shaka and reishi in the same time? If you take shaka in the morning and you take reishi in the evening? Absolutely.
So the beautiful thing about the medicinal mushroom is that you can actually stack them. So they're not conflicting. So you can use them at the same time. Like I'm using pretty much every single product that we have in our product line pretty much every single day. And some of them I stack it. Like for example, we have the tinctures here. So we have reishi. Reishi I use it during the evening times. And some, like, the cool thing about reishi is that some people, me included, when they start using reishi, because it calms the nervous system, you start to dream again. And like dreaming,
many times you don't remember your dreams in the morning.
Yes, but like you like after a while, like it doesn't apply to everyone. Like there's people who said like, yeah, nothing really changed. But for me, like my dreams became so vivid that I woke up in the morning and was like, what just happened?
Do you like your dreams?
Yeah, I like my dreams. So, yeah, they're good dreams.
Okay.
Like
no nightmares.
Yeah, my subconscious mind is like healthy, I think. But yeah, and some other people have reported back as well and saying like, whoa, I started to dream again. I can't remember the last time I was actually dreaming. So, but my favorite product that I'm using every single morning is lion's mane. So lion's mane, it's a highly concentrated. That's why it's in tincture. It also has alcohol in it, 25%, and it's for a reason, because alcohol acts as a delivery mechanism. So alcohol can be very poisonous if we're consuming it in large quantities, but alcohol can be useful if we're being wise about it, right? So in this case, we take alcohol because it delivers the molecules fast into your brain. So and lion's mane is all about brain and focus.
So tell more about lion's mane. It's about brain. It helps brain problems, to focus. What else?
So once again, this is the ancient knowledge and then the modern day science put together, and we have one of this amazing medicinal mushroom. So for thousands of years, monks and like the old Chinese medicine was using this mushroom because they felt that there's a difference in the focus for thousands of years, right? Now, I think it was 2023, beginning of 2023, when the research paper came out. There was research in Queensland University in Australia, where they literally proved that the two main components in lion's mane are actually responsible of communicating with your certain proteins that will initiate the growth of NGF. NGF is a neural growth factor. So what that means is basically that while consuming lion's mane, we can actually start to regrow our brain and nerve synapses. And brain synapses, there's something that is like we lose the brain synapses over time. And because of the nasty disease called aging, right? So that's why, you know, as we get older, like we get slower, we can't remember things that well anymore. We develop, I don't know, even Alzheimer, Parkinson. Those are all brain-derived diseases. But now we actually have a substance that can regrow the brain synapses, which means that the aging in our brain is not a problem anymore. And I'm extremely, extremely excited about that because like we just like this is a brand new information in terms of a scientific point of view. So now after this research came out, lion's mane is heavily researched in order to fix Alzheimer, Parkinson, you know, those brain-derived diseases. And what's even cool about it is that usually when I say to people, it'll be like, it's a mushroom drink. So this is a soft drink made out of lion's mane. So
let's try.
Let's try it.
Yes.
And whenever I'm telling people that this
Keep
is
focus and love lion's mane. Yes.
Whenever I tell people that this is a drink made out of mushrooms, we all have the perception in our mind how it should taste like, right? So let's taste it and you let me know what do you think.
Kippis, we say in Finland. Yes, you know.
Kippis.
What do you say in Estonia?
Terveyseks.
Terveyseks.
Yes.
Terveyseks. So good.
I know.
So good. My favorite drink.
So, and it's the colder the drink is, the better it gets.
It's like cider.
It's like, yes, it's cider. It's like, it has so many different levels. Like everybody has like their own memory with this drink when they're drinking. It's like, oh, this is like this drink, or this is like that drink, or like they all have like positive memories. And you can't feel any mushroom taste. Like there's no mushroom taste whatsoever. But the interesting thing is this one can contains about 2 grams of lion's mane. Most of the products out there, they have about a gram or less than a gram in their product. We put 2 grams of lion's mane into each and every can, which means that the amount of lion's mane you get and the amount of the good substance you get out of that is actually, that's why we call it the focus drink.
I love it. My favorite one, definitely. So you said that there is like 4 common, the most important medical mushrooms, and we have talked about the shaka and reishi and lion's mane. So what's the 4th?
So the 4th one that we are currently working with is shiitake.
Shiitake.
Shiitake is, I guess it's still mainly known, at least in this region, as a gourmet mushroom, right? It's a sushi mushroom, but and it's a tasty mushroom as a gourmet mushroom as well. But it has a very potent health benefits. So and one of the main benefit is actually, it's called a beauty mushroom. So,
I love that. I take that.
So the story itself is longer how, like, you know, we get to the beauty part, but what it essentially does, it's it takes care of your blood circulation and blood health. So the vessels, so it cleans out the vessels, and through that you have a better blood circulation. Well, you know, your heart pumps better as well. It's easier.
Yeah.
And also you have a better blood circulation, which means the nutrition gets each and every part of your body as it's supposed to. And the first thing that happens after that is that your skin starts to glow. And that's why it's called the beauty mushroom. But underneath it, it has so many layers where it's useful.
But you don't have this product yet.
I do. So
you do?
We have it in the tincture form. We also have, there's another product called Detox, which is a mix of chaga and shiitake as a base. And once again, like, we don't like to make simple products for one simple reason, because we feel that we can add so much more into that to get the actual functionality we're seeking for. So we combined chaga with shiitake and added some other herbs in there. So it's a very unique recipe where, detox is how to put it in politely, it's a very popular word. So, the craziest thing I've seen was a detox Band-Aid that you put underneath your feet. I'm like,
really?
Yes. I'm like, okay.
I haven't heard that.
I'm like, okay, so like detox is so popular, like you just put the name detox and like, people are buying it. But once again, we like to approach those things scientifically. So what is body's detox? It's body's ability to get rid of the toxins, get rid of the crap that doesn't belong into your body. And that starts inside out. So all the creams and everything, that's fine, but you actually don't get to the root cause of the problem. When we combine chaga is also very, actually the Finnish-Ugri tribes use chaga for two reasons. We have actually a very comprehensive study coming out how different tribes all over the world have been using chaga. So we're going to release that in a couple of months. But I already have insight. I can't disclose all of it, but I have insight. So Finnish-Ugri tribes, and Finnish-Ugri tribes, they go, for thousands of kilometers. They've been using chaga for immunity and gut health. But if you start to think about it, gut health is actually the first defense of your immunity, right? So it makes sense. So shiitake is also for blood vessels and for gut health. So you combine those two, now you have the first response, so to say, to clean your gut and then get your digestion in order, so the digestion can start to do the next thing, which is pushing out the toxins from your body. So it's approaching inside out, not outside in. So
interesting. But like I was thinking, when you go like to a health store, for example here in Finland, and we have a lot of like mushrooms products there. So how do you know which one is like very good quality and which one is not?
Like that, that's actually excellent question, because we're working tirelessly to get this, like, to push this information out there. And I'm not saying that people have to buy from us. Like, there are plenty of good companies out there, and like mushrooms are not just like one product fix either, right? Like every other thing in this world has their role to play, right? If I'm gonna get hit by a car, I'm not gonna take a mushroom. Like, I'm gonna go to hospital. Like, as simple as that, right? So everything has its own place in this world. But mushrooms are just so complex if we're talking about different issues that we want to solve. So one thing to keep in mind, and I think that's the kind of the biggest fight, because a lot of people these days, they're buying products, not only from the health store, but they're ordering products from States, from China, from all over the world, right? So we have certain rules here in Europe, in European Union, but those rules don't apply in the US, those rules don't apply in Asia, so on. So the biggest fight that's going on right now is fruiting body versus the mycelium. So the mycelium is the part that we don't see. That's running underneath the soil. That's the white network that we're all seeing, right? Then after a while, the fruiting body comes out, and this is where the mushroom feels that, okay, I need to reproduce. That's why it needs the fruiting body. There is a portion of mushroom enthusiasts who are saying that mycelium is the part that's the most valuable and that's what you should use. And they make products out of mycelium. And then there is a second part who's saying that, well, fruiting body is actually the valuable part. And we represent that second part as well, because once the fruiting body comes out, this is where the mushroom actually has to stand the stressors. In the nature, once the fruiting body comes out, it has to start with fighting with the different stressors that the environment is offering. Sun, cold, heat, UV light, like you name it, radiation, you name it, right? And this is where it actually develops all of those polysaccharides, beta-glucans, all of the good stuff. Now, I do understand as well why the first part of the enthusiasts are vouching for the mycelium, because it's very easy, simple, and cheap to just develop the mycelium in a lab. As simple as that. So first thing first, make sure it's from the fruiting body. And the science backs it up as well. So that's number one. The other thing is transparency. Where are the mushrooms actually coming from? So China is still responsible to this day, I think, like about 75% of the mushroom export. So they hold about 75% of the market. China has a lot of very good products coming out of there, very quality products. Like, I'm not saying all the Chinese products are bad. Like, the same risk applies to US. Like, you have to be very careful what you're buying from there as well. So like with any other country or company, you have to be careful, right? But the thing is that it can be contaminated. So you need to know where it's coming from and what are the qualification certificates that the product actually has. So I do recommend to follow those companies who either have the full circle, which means that they grow their own mushrooms, so they can actually prove where the ingredients are coming from, how they're grown, how they're used in the product, and so on. That's the safest way to go. But if you're using companies who are just putting the products together, which is fine as well, then just try to understand where they're buying their ingredients and try to go to the source. I know it's a lot of work, and we're still in the beginning of a trend where, you know, a lot of it is still not well regulated. But try to understand where it goes, because a lot of chaga, although marketed as, you know, I don't know, European chaga, actually comes in from Russia, so supporting Russia through that. But China buys it from Russia, sells it to Europe, where it gets stamped and then sold, right? So, like, you know, those kind of things are happening. So it's okay to ask where the product is coming from the manufacturer, how it's produced, and how they make sure that the quality is there. Like, if somebody asks that from us, we're prepared for that. And I think that's one of the strengths of our company as well, that we can actually do that.
That's a good advice.
Yes.
So if when our Health Summit viewers want to try this product, what we have been talking about, where they can buy it? So first, I want to have a big, massive shout out to our local partners here, Fauna Finland, who made this happen. So, like, who made sure that, you know, we can actually have this discussion here today, and the people can actually try this product in Finland. But people can go to Hyvinvoinnin tavaratalo to get those products. So I think we probably have the whole variety over there. So, and if they have questions, you know, our social media, our email is always open. So, like, we want to actually help people, and like, we have people who are asking very difficult questions from us. We're fine with that. We're not going to run away from that. So if you have questions, if you're not quite sure what product to use, how to use, feel free to send us an email, contact any of the people responsible selling the product. We will help you out. And I love Hyvinvoinnin tavaratalo because they are always like ahead of time, and they have so good quality, so good, you know, products. I'm so happy they have this. But hey, I have to ask about the illnesses. I have had myself brain cancer 11 years ago, and it was a really bad one, grade 4. So because of that, my life changed, and that's my story. That's why I'm here doing the interview, because of the brain cancer. Mm-hmm. So of course, I'm very interested in this kind of products. So, and we know, like our viewers, people have illnesses, so you can safely use these products. For example, for cancer, of course, we cannot say that it cures the cancer, but we know that our own body wants to heal, so we can help our body to heal. So what do you think is
Absolutely.
Good to use?
So first of all, I'm happy that although event as it is something that we don't want anybody to have, I'm very happy that you were able to push through that, and it seems that you recovered quite well. So congrats. But yes, so there are different illnesses out there, and there are very serious illnesses out there that people are struggling with. Mushrooms, medicinal mushrooms in general, like I said, they're adaptogens. So there's really no restriction in terms of when or how to consume the products. You mentioned the word cancer, and we have to be very careful throwing that word around these days, but I always like to back up anything I say. I like to back up with the science. So, and that's why I want to throw this on the table, saying the cancer, and there is breakthrough over there as well. So up to this day, and the last I checked was yesterday actually, there's a platform called PubMed, where they list all the scientific researches. For chaga, there was well over 600 scientific researches. Out of that 600 plus, 107 researches were in a human trial phase. The number doesn't sound that big, but what's interesting about it is that all of those 107, not all, but most of the 107, either the trials were completed or started in the last 10 years, which kind of shows the trend and everything that we start to understand what the mushrooms are doing. Now, if we're looking deeper into the scientific researches, there are three main alleys that it's going. One is anti-cancer, anti-tumor, so the fighting with cancer, so to say. Second is diabetes, so relieving or reversing the diabetes. And third is strengthening the immune system, which is kind of goes together with the first two, right? So those are the three main researches that are, or three main fields where the research is going on. So also people who've been through the cancer like you have, or who are struggling with that today, your number one goal is to make sure that your immune system is intact, because this is where it all starts from. So we have treatments that are, fighting cancer, but at the same time weakening your immune system, right? We have different treatments, different options that people can choose to go with today. One thing that doesn't change your immune system.
Exactly.
It needs to be.
It's all about the immune system.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter what the disease is. It doesn't matter, because it's all about the immune system. It can be a flu. Yes. You have to, balance your immune system. So I know that you don't like this question, but if you would have to choose one mushroom, what would it be?
Yeah, you asked that question prior to the interview, and I said it's like choosing your favorite child. It's unfair. Exactly. But I get where the question is coming from. So obviously my absolute favorite that I'm using every single day, because I don't have any big health issues that needs to be fixed. I'm using all the products, but my absolute favorite is this one right here, lion's mane tincture, because of the amazing work what it does with your brain and focus. like I said, as an entrepreneur, that's your biggest asset up here. So like I want this to be functioning in 110%. So and Lion's Mane has changed a lot. I've been using Lion's Mane. Well, at first it was more on and off. But altogether I would say 3+ years, and I see the effect. So like making decisions, the speed of thinking, all of those kind of things, like they gradually go better. So like after a while you're looking back and be like, like 5 months ago I would treat this situation completely different because of like I wasn't able to make a decision, or like it would take time to make a decision. Today I'm walking out from the meeting room, I'm like, I want to make the decisions on the spot and then move on with my day. Previously I was like, well, this decision seems so difficult and hard, let's think on it, right? And it's like, then you ponder for days and they're like, it's all piling up, right? So it does miracles. My friends who have used this product, they're all like, yeah, I see the difference.
Oh, and that is so good for Finnish people, because we really need to feel and see the difference.
Yes.
Because there are so many products and you can just take some vitamins and you don't feel anything. So it's good that you, after that, you notice the difference.
I think it's not only with Finnish people. I think this is where the world is going today, right? So especially with the economical turmoil, everything, people want to see results.
Exactly.
So nice to have products. I'm not going to spend money on that, or I'm going to think twice doing that. So I want to see results, and I want to make sure that whatever I'm consuming will help me to achieve something, right? So that's why, like, I'm saying, like, this is not only tastes good, but it has the functionality in it. And if you can actually start to feel the effects after certain time, well, then we did our job. If you're coming back to us and they're like, well, listen, I've been taking your product for quite a while and I'm still having like nightmares and I can't sleep and stuff like that, then like we're the first ones to say that this is probably not working for you then. Like we don't want to push ourselves to people who don't see value in that or don't get the value from that. So, and we want to get the feedback as well. This is always a thing. It's like, we want to get the feedback. Let us know, how did it affect you?
Definitely.
So.
Hey, I'm so happy that you came to Finland, from Estonia to Finland, to share this information about medical mushrooms. Thank you, Silver Laus.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, and hopefully we can continue this some other time, because there's so much to share.
Thank you.